Well, welcome to the second class, first of all. Basically, we're going to be talking about tempo. And by the way, just saying, this topic is something that is not shared too often online. And if it is, you don't get the full context. Let's just see what tempo is. And the things, guys, that we're going to be covering is basically what is tempo, how to recognize tempo, aggressive mindset, defensive mindset, tempo cheating. I'll show you like some hacks and things you have to be mindful about, how to use it, and practical part, and some bonus. And we'll see what the bonus is, okay? But the bonus is like something that only pro coaches will be able to identify, or someone that played /coach pro. So I'll be showing you that you can as well use it in your solo queue, okay? But guys, what is tempo, guys? Okay, what is tempo? Like, first of all, tempo is very simple. It's the ability to make plays first, okay? That means that if you're like 2 seconds faster, you're basically up tempo, but that's only 2 seconds, right? And there's multiple meanings of tempo, but we'll basically see. And let's talk about this topic. Why is it important? It helps you understand when an enemy has a turn, or you. You can trap and be first and make a pick, and it allows you to have better chances of winning fights, and defensive and aggressive mindset, which will help you in every single game, okay? And I'll be talking about like how to recognize tempo with some examples, all right? And these are the examples, which is, for example, death timer, after objective, and after gank. So I'll show you the first example, okay? Which is enemy death timer. It's like 3-1 right now, right? Okay, so I'll have to, essentially, guys, okay? How do you recognize tempo? So the thing that's always measurable and trackable every single game is this death timer, okay? So I'm gonna pause here right here, okay? And I want you to think. We just went into the game, but basically, I don't know. Silas took 3 camps, gang mid lane, I killed him. All my camps are up here, and Silas is respawned in 10 seconds, okay? So, in general, okay? After you get a kill, usually, okay? Not always, but you are down tempo. In early game, post level 5. I'll explain why. But basically, right now, after I get a kill, I'm down tempo. Why is that? Enemy spent his gold. I haven't spent my gold. Okay, so what does this mean? This means that I now, well, I'm gonna full clear. And let's say if enemy Silas is a complete psycho, okay, and he goes topside here, he can gank top lane, and I cannot match that, okay? So now I put myself in a defensive mindset. I know he's up in tempo. So what will I do here? I'll do my camps, I'll look to base, and spend my gold, and then I'll be stronger than him. However, he will have topside tempo, and I have botside tempo, but I didn't base yet. So I could be maybe slightly weaker, but my point here is that he has topside tempo, but I have botside tempo. But the difference is that he just, came from a base. So, and I went for a bowling gank here, and I knew he couldn't match me because, well, he's probably gonna go topside, right? And how did I know this gank was good in the first place? Because I saw that bowling wave was pushing towards me, and that led me to get a kill, okay? So that's the first thing, which is death time tempo. So I'll show you the second example, which is after an objective. Base here. But low-key a gank as well, okay? But right now, pay attention. I just killed the Ivern here. So right now, I was channeling my base, but then I was thinking, there's a fight here. So okay, I'm canceling my base here, okay? We're fighting here, but I want the base there, just saying. But now, after this fight here, I'm like, okay, we just killed the Nautilus. All my camps are up, and what did I decide to do here? I decided to base, get my items, and now I want you to think about one thing. I'm now in base. Look at the timer. It's 2-7, okay? Ivern is respawning at 13. So this guy is legit 14 seconds tempo up on me. So right now, once again, I have a defensive mindset. Like now, I'm thinking, okay, maybe Ivern can do something, but as an Ivern, he's like completely useless, so it doesn't actually matter, guys, okay? But right now, I'm going to my topside camps, but I know that he's faster on the map than me. And let's just look what happens here, okay? I clear my topside camps, and I rush through the grubs here. I skip my topside camps here. So essentially, when I'm doing objective, I am now down tempo. In general, almost always, okay, after taking an objective, you are down tempo if enemy doesn't show. Because now, essentially, you can see that 2 of my camps are up, and I'm doing the grubbies here, okay? So this means that enemy can almost always do something. So as a jungler, you have to now look to ping, hey, be careful. However, the thing is now is that I'm topside, and there's one mistake here. There is a really big fat wave on the bot lane. So this was a mistake of doing the grubs. So what was the mistake here? The mistake here is basically not recognizing that enemy, well, has a slow pushing bot. you know? Here is a slope towards bot lane, and honestly, I did not think they could dive in bot lane. So I was thinking in my mind, okay, it's actually fine for me to do grips here. I didn't actually think about him being able to dive. Here's the thing, I'm taking objectives, so I'm down tempo. And he can essentially, well, dive bot lane here, right? So this was not banger, because my Jhin died here and he lost a lot of farm. And I didn't finish all the grips, because I was thinking maybe I could cover them. So this is like objective down tempo. For now, we understand like death timer tempo and objective down tempo. So these things are ways to identify for you to recognize that, well, you're down tempo, which means enemy jungle can do something, right? So what is your job as a jungler? It is to instantly recognize what he can do and think whether you need to either match him or you need to like basically let it go, you know? It's like, okay, you guys are dead and I cannot help you, okay? But every single time, look at death timer and take objective. Or whenever you're doing objective. So, next example. So, this example right here, and as a jungler buddy, it's very important that you're aware of this, but look, what does Amumu do? He ganks mid lane. If I'm full clearing here and he's ganking, it's gonna be quite bad for him. Because what's gonna happen is that, if let's say for some reason, bot lane is trading, enemy bot lane, I can be there, and he cannot be there. So, right now, if I decide to go bot side, right, he won't be here. So, he's basically down tempo because he ganked. And he cannot match me here. And here, sadly, I couldn't really get any kill, I think. But maybe I did. Okay, I got a kill here. But think about it right now. I just ganked bot lane and he ganked mid lane. So, guess what? After I keep playing in general, okay, after I gank, think what enemy jungle can do. Because essentially, if you're not pinging right now, careful top lane or careful mid lane, and they're playing aggressive, you cannot match it. So this is the moment where you have to recognize that you are down tempo, and you have to farm, usually, or base. So this is what I call a defensive mindset. So this is like a defensive mindset, okay? Like right now, I don't really want to look for any play unless it's a free kill, alright? So I have now a defensive mindset. Because I don't want to go mid or I don't want to go top. Because I just gank bot lane, right? So this is the moment where you have to put yourself in a defensive mindset and ping every single lane to be careful. So if you look at this moment here, did I ping top lane to play careful? I didn't. Could I have prevented this death? Maybe I could have. He still flash. I don't know if he eat in or not, but what I'm trying to say here is that after you make a gank, you're down tempo. Okay? And it's like, it's very important to understand when you want to play aggressive and when you want to play defensive. So these are just few examples regarding when, well, tempo examples, okay? This is just to understand the theory of it. Like, the class is like, hasn't even started, okay? So, basically, I hope you guys understand a bit more about like the basics of like the death timer, after taking objective, after you've ganked, and after you've invaded. The aggressive mindset. So, what do I mean with aggressive mindset? So, every single time you can freshly from base, and if you have your item power spikes, or if you finish your camps, you can or should have an aggressive mindset. So, this is a game where I'm playing as a rank 1 Talon. In AOS, this is Stanza. And I took the crap here, okay? And I knew he was topside here. He decided to invade me here, and now he's bouncing. I take this, and I yoinked it, okay? So, I'm not sure if I can show you his CS, but essentially he has like 28 CS, I believe. He ran all the way from base to my Gromp. Or he has 33 CS, whatever. But essentially, because he walked all the way from here, he has to run all the way to the jungle, and I have to run like here. He is down tempo. So what does this mean? And how can I abuse this? Like now, because he invaded me, I'm up tempo. So how can I abuse this? So you'll see what I'll do. So see here how I do my wolves, and I do my raptors, and now I'm sprinting towards enemy bot side camps. You could even argue that like the raptors was a bit greedy, but anyway, here, I'm looking for the Talon here. And pay attention how I ping. I ping a mid laner, I ping on the way, and now I'm invading here. So the Gromp here is like with 2k HP. Why could I invade this? Because essentially he invaded me, and he had to run all the way to back to his camps. Right now, because I pinged my mid lane in advance, and he's contesting the Gromp here, I'm fighting here. And now we kill him. And we didn't kill our bot lane, but essentially, what I'm trying to say is that it all came back from here. All the way here, this guy invaded me. So I knew up tempo, and here's the thing that I had to keep into account, okay? Which is that, first of all, am I stronger? I am. can I have my laners move? I can. And that's all I needed to know here. And I'll show you some other games where I'll get like 3 levels advantage when I just apply this concept. And yeah, you can see here that he just died. So I had an aggressive mindset because he came freshly from base and this guy trolled his tempo. Why did he troll his tempo? Because he essentially ganked me. Or no, sorry, he invaded me, right? So after he invaded, he was down tempo. So this is just the theory of like tempo, okay? This is more like a defensive mindset. It's the complete opposite. So here, if you came freshly from base, if you have item power spikes, if you finish your camps. Well, what's the opposite of aggressive? If you still need to base, if you need to farm for an item power spike, or if you haven't finished your camps. And this is a really good example. So right now, this one I coached. So he just finished the groups. Guess what? After you finish the groups, you are down tempo, okay? So what mindset does he need to have right now? This guy needs to have a defensive mindset right now. So next thing would be, how much gold does he need for his item power spike? 1 or 2 camps. So if you're a decent player and you know when you need an item, you should now put yourself in a defensive mindset. You should now ping Kirei on bot and mid because he wants his laners to not do anything right here. That's really important. Of course, when you have your item power spike, I'm not telling you to like never ever do something, but keeping in mind that you ideally want to base. Because right now, after he finishes this, he should have based. Because I think he'll have his item like very soon. Okay, he could take his reps if he wants to. Ideally, he wants to base as soon as possible because he reps pro for his item here. But that is very close for his item. But my point I'm trying to say is that you see when Zek went ball in here and killed Smolder, I'm not sure if he pinged. It was a 2v2 kill, so it didn't really matter. But what I'm trying to say here is more that he needs a defensive mindset and he shouldn't want to look for plays unless it's free. So let's say right now they're going too deep, sure, go for it, but the crucial part is that you recognize after you take an objective, right? Or when you have camps, or you need item, you need defensive mindset. You need to think, okay, I don't want to do anything unless it's free. And ping accordingly, okay? So those are some examples regarding aggressive mindset and defensive mindset. So now let's go to tempo cheating. So, well, you might wonder what is tempo cheating. They actually changed the death timer. It went from 6 to 10 seconds, and level 2, well, basically it's level 10 seconds as well. But from level 5 onwards, it's 40 seconds. I have a question for you guys, and let's see if you guys can guess correctly. And I think that most of you guys are gonna get it wrong. Let's say at level 5. Actually, let's say at level 4 first, okay? Do you have tempo? Enemy is dead for 12 seconds. Do you have tempo? Okay, seems like a lot of people say no. You don't have tempo. Even if you base immediately, because technically it's a 4-second window, okay? Technically, if at level 4 you kill enemy, he's dead for 12 seconds. Imagine you base instantly, you have 4 seconds, okay? But you don't have tempo, because home guard is like existing, right? So I'm gonna show you an example of like a home guard, right? This is like with home guard. So we start at 20. So running to this tower takes, how long? Takes close to 10 seconds, okay? It takes 10 seconds. This example without home guards. So basically this took 4 seconds extra. So if you look at the death timers, okay? At level 4, it is technically impossible to get tempo. At level 5, you have 2 seconds tempo. But guys, realistically, at level 5, usually after you get a kill, you actually usually will take a camp or whatever. So most of the times you're down tempo. So that's why I always preach, after you get a kill, think about what enemy can do. And you should be almost sure that he has almost always tempo, okay? So I'll show you guys like tempo sites. So you might wonder what the is tempo sites, but so right now. So I want you guys to tell me right now, after Elise kill top lane here, okay? And he's going to top side. Does Bel'Veth have tempo? I want you to like think about this, like pause, think about it. Does Bel'Veth have tempo? The answer is Bel'Veth has tempo on the bot side. He does not have tempo on the top side. Because if Elise doesn't need to base here, he has no tempo top side by the way. Elise can literally go mid lane, match him, top lane, match him, take his camps same time. He's not down tempo. But if Bel'Veth, for some reason, instead of opening top side, decided to be like, F it guys, I'm gonna run bot side. He has bot side tempo, not top side tempo. So this is all tempo sites. Like, you shouldn't think of like, oh, enemy has tempo. There's tempo sites. Like, if you think about it, if Elise is in the top side quadrant, okay? This is her kingdom. But if Bel'Veth goes bot side, Elise can never make the bot side. Even if she bases right now, runs bot side, she'll be at least 13 seconds down, okay? But, I mean, it is like pretty similar in terms of farming. She's on blue buff like, what, 2 seconds later. That's completely fine, you know? So, basically, it's important to understand where you have tempo. If Elise doesn't need to base, she is completely fine. She has up tempo topside. But let's say that Elise decides to stay. She's technically cheating tempo. She doesn't need to base. She's like staying. So that's why it's important to recognize on which side you have tempo on the map. So tempo doesn't necessarily mean always, oh, he's faster on faster. There's as well tempo sides. And in that case, he had tempo on both sides. Elise had matching tempo on the top side, okay? And that's why I write tempo sides. And this is kind of crucial to understand because this is something that's misunderstood. And of course, like when Elise all his camps are up top side, this guy should take his top side camps, right? So let's look at the next slide. I'll mostly open this video. That's the most important thing, which is that you can still use tempo for trapping. So when I say trapping, I'll show you guys like how to abuse tempo, okay? So I'm in TLDR, there's a fight on the Herald. I'm doing my golems. And just to give you some context, Drake is up in 1 minute. They just took the Rift Herald. So of course, guess what? The enemy team is objective down tempo. He just took the Rift, I took my golems, and I'm instant basing here. So I'm up tempo here, okay? Because he took an objective. And just as you see, Drake's in 130. If you look at the map state, Smolder's taking top tower. After he takes top tower, they probably want to play for mid and for Drake, right? I knew that the whole time, I'll just play a bit longer, they were fighting topside here. Or like, basically there's a long topside dance, okay? We were fighting here, there's like a fight. Janna probably dropped all his wards here. And right now, I know that I'm up tempo. So what do I do with my tempo? I know everything's black here. I just sit here. And I kill him. And you will find so many inters. And by the way, I'm behind this game. I mean, I don't think we would win teamfights at this point. But because we made a pick here, now we get full control. So how did I come to this conclusion of rushing here straight? I knew here that enemy had no vision bot side. I knew that I had tempo because enemy is objective down tempo. And that's why I rushed here and I got some free kills. And how did I recognize this? Which is, we're gonna get to that. I recognized here because objective down tempo. Because, actually, how do I recognize it? After you've taken objective, the same applies for you to the enemy. After they take an objective, in general, not always, you lost tempo. Okay? So with death timer tracking, you can know it. And after you take an objective, you can know it. And after you've ganked, you can know you're down tempo. And after you've invaded. After doing all of these things, you should wire in your brain, enemy can do something first. Almost always, okay? I will show you guys some examples. This example I played against Agrin. Okay, this is like basically a full challenge lobby. In the end, I was, I think, 7-10 in minute 17. And I was like 3 levels up on him. So how did I get this advantage? Well, of course, first of all, enemy support is inting. But regardless of that, there were certain sequences that I just understood tempo very well. And I'll be explaining that, okay? So early game, I can promise you there's nothing special happening. Both junglers are full clearing. He has bot priority here. Just a small tip, right? If they have mid and bot priority, just skip the bot crap, go to top crap. I go for top lane play here. Guess what? After this play, no joke, this is legit in my system. Right now, I think about one thing. I'm gang down tempo. So right now, I'm down tempo. So the first thing that I'm thinking about, okay, what can he do on mid lane or bot lane? Because essentially, honestly, my top lane is dead, so no danger. I just have to think about mid lane and bot lane. Those are the laners I have to think about. So you see I'm looking bot lane here, and my mid lane died 1v1. So here I'm just recognizing what he can do. He can do nothing. That's fine. I was full clearing here, because Karni here, he died here. I'm instant basing, not doing Drake here because I have a lot of gold. Grubs is up. I'm going to the Grubs here, just so you know he took the Drake. So if you think about it, he's now objective down tempo. He probably skipped some of his camps, which is he stops his setup, to get there, right? To do the Drake. So if, let's say, my mid lane pushes mid lane, and I invade him here, I could technically take his red buff. But here, instead, I plan to do my Grubs here, and I'm down tempo on bot side. He killed my bot lane, okay? But now he ganked, so he's for sure down tempo. So what do I do now? Because he ganked bot lane here. I know now that I'm up tempo, and Orianna has no flash. So because he has no flash, I gank mid lane here. And small thing regarding ganking, right? Just in general, gank when he goes for last hit. When he goes for last hit, his screen is legit here. He's not looking me in the map. So right now, on that minion right there, and now I'm just holding my abilities. This is honestly, if you play any skills champion, please look at enemy movement. If I hit my W, he's dead. If I miss it, he's alive. If you play Lee Sin or Elise or any skills champion, be patient. As you can see here, I'm like very patient. And what's gonna happen as well, right? By just holding skill shot, this guy will just like stand in this area. That will allow him to fist him. And you want him to fist Oriana. So you can see here, he's like moving to the side, which allows him more time to DPS him. He's walking here, more time to DPS. And now he's dead. So guess what? Right now I gank mid lane. I am now down tempo. I'm now gang down tempo. So now I have to think about my own safety because I'm playing as a Kha'Zix, right? But I have a very good ward here. And well, I'm out of here. We fight here. Skarner died. So right now I have no idea where Kha'Zix is. I have no idea. But because I have a ward here, I know now that he cannot be in my jungle. Very likely. But now I see Kha'Zix, so now I'm safe. Imagine I didn't have this ward here. I would legit probably not enter my top side here. Because I know I'm down tempo and I know that if he wants to be in my top side, he could be. And what's he gonna do when he finds Natalia in the jungle? I'm f***ing cooked. But I have a ward here so I can full clear. But that still means that he's up tempo, you see? Like he probably took this, and I still have to take my blue, Gromp, and my bot side. So guess what's on my mind? Defensive mindset. Right now, I will ping my laners. Careful. He's very up-tempo on the bot side. So I'm now pinging my bot lane. Please be careful. I'm not helping you. And my lanes are respecting. And think of it like this, okay? Just now I got something. Think of it like as football, like whatever. I scored now, technically, one goal. It's 1-0. As long as he doesn't get something in the next minute, it's gonna stay 1-0. If he does, it'll be 1-1. You want it to be always 1-0. And then at some point you want it to be 2-0, 3-0, 4-0. So how do you do that? You have to understand enemy has a turn and your team has to respect. Will they respect? Sometimes, maybe. But essentially, you have to stabilize. And here, let's see if I manage to stabilize. I spam ping my team. Please don't fight. Here, okay? Because they took a trade. Instead of me taking my camps here, I'm forced to ignore these camps. There are some times where you can't farm to defend. Imagine I farm here, my Raptors, and if I'm bowling against Dove here, I'm not happy. I want to keep it 1-0. And because I understand that I am down tempo, I will look to sprint bot lane. I'm legit doing a super rush here, sprinting bot lane, making sure they're okay. At the moment they're okay, I bounce. And now there's a Skarn invading me. And there's a fight here. We can look at the fight briefly. He died here. And now Ezreal died here as well. So boom. This is something you can make in habit. These are the things you have to think about right now. Which is, first of all, after a kill, do I need to base? Why do I think about do I need to base? If I know I need to base, I will put myself in a defensive mindset. So, okay, after I've concluded that whether I need to base or not, I have to ask myself this. Well, what do I want to play for? Why is this important? This is important for you to identify whether you want to clear top to bot or not. Because imagine that all my camps are up. I would probably take my top side camps as soon as possible so I can be around the bot side, okay? So it's important that you know what you want to play for because you don't want to be like pathing bot to top. That's just dog. Because then you're going to path away from win condition, alright? Then the next thing you want to be thinking about is essentially where is enemy jungle. Because think like this. There's only two ways to lose the game in League of Legends. Which is either laners are boosted. That's normal. They can just int, okay? But usually, if laners are actually ahead, they don't lose very often. Even in low elo, okay? What happens very often is that they die to enemy jungler. So as long as you can track what he can do, and you have decent tempo, and you have a defensive mindset, and you track accordingly, I'm not telling you that your laners are always going to survive if you do the correct thing, but over a long period of time, you will climb, no matter what. These are the things I'm thinking about, okay? So let's answer these questions. Do I need to base? Yes. 1.7k gold. I have my Leandris. What do I want to play for? I want to play for bot lane. Where's enemy jungle? Well, I have no clue, but I know he's in base in 30 seconds. So let's see what I do next. I'm going to play this normal speed. So I know I need to base now. I have a defensive mindset, which means that I'm thinking defensively. After I do my Raptors, I know of my item. Kha'Zix just respawned. I'm even doing my golems here. I'm pinging instantly. Okay, he's going topside. Because I know very likely he's going topside, you know? So right now, I'm looking and I'm basing. So now I'm thinking, what the f***ing Kha'Zix do? The moment I'm in base, okay, like when I'm in base, I look at laners. So now think from Kaz's perspective. So here I understand that I'm down tempo. So now I'm thinking, what can Kha'Zix do? He can for sure go top lane. So you can see here legit, I'm right clicking towards top side. Even if I don't see Kha'Zix right now, I know he's gonna go top side. I'm legit right clicking top side here. Even if let's say my Wolves was up or Raptor, I would probably go top side. And now we killed Kha'Zix. So how did I recognize all of this? It actually came from all the way here. All the way right now. And it helps me because I'm putting myself in a defensive mindset. And when you put yourself in defensive mindset, you're just thinking about, do I need to farm? Yeah, I do. Can enemy jungle do something? Do I need to cover? And I'm not looking for anything proactive. I'm just thinking whether he can kill my laners, yes or no. And in this case, for sure he can. And as long as he cannot do that, guess what? 4-0. And slowly but surely, you will accelerate the game. And you will basically just like, yeah, be super far ahead at some point. And, well, and after a while, right, it's just that play after play, it's over. And now it's 6-0. So this game, I had just very good tracking and I made sure I understood what you could do. There's like more examples, but I'll skip it for now. And I'll show you like a game that I played as well today, which is a good example of like what people in low elo would do. But it is Challenger, but it's a good example. So, so I'll show you what you should never do. Okay, I'll show you the things that you shouldn't do. And this is like the perfect example of what you should never do. And the things you should be doing. And I'll show you the mistakes of the Z. If this guy would ever watch my coaching class, he would realize what they can do in the future. Just to skip forward, okay? I did the full clear, and he did the full clear as well, okay? So right now, I know his bot lane priority, I go towards top side. He goes for mid lane. Okay. Anyway, basically, this guy did not base. It's 420. Like, 420, you always want to base. Have based already. So here's the troll thing. So now this guy went for a gank. So guess what? He's now down tempo, okay? So now he has no base and I have a base. Technically, okay, he's not down tempo on top side. He is weaker than me though. If he wants to match me on top side, he can match me. But he's not down tempo. He's just weaker, okay? He can match me on top side. However, let's keep proceeding and watch. And I'll show all vision. Because he f***ed up, he's now down tempo. He had to base from here, went all the way here, back to here. So, what's gonna happen right now is that he's down tempo. So what do you guys think Zed has to do right now? Zed now has to track me like crazy. He has to think, what can Kinder do right now? This guy needs to have a defensive mindset. Look what happens here. I got first blood here. Could Zed match me? He couldn't match me. Why couldn't he match me? Because down tempo. So what is the mistake here? He should have known he's down tempo. He should have thought about me being able to gank mid lane. And this is Challenger, by the way. So he didn't have the right mindset. He did not have a defensive mindset. Because I have the first play. Do you guys remember what it means to be first? What is tempo? What is tempo, guys? Ability to make plays first. First blood. And, by the way, just saying, it's completely okay to in-tempo. Okay, it's not okay, but it's okay. But you know what I mean. But it's not okay to not track properly. So, of course, should Lisandro die here? No. If he pinged, would he have survived? Very likely. Okay. So now I'm chunking him here a bit. His wasted abilities. So, boom. Right now. I'll show you the worst thing you can do. And if you do this, you're low elo. So, right now, I chunked him, so group should be easier. I'm checking if he's gonna face check here. As the Z here, he has to now understand that very likely Grubs is gone. So what should he do right now? Taking his ball into push, do Drake. Try to get something. The worst thing you can do, I call this revenge chasing. The worst thing you can do is run from bot to the Grubs. Like, I don't have to stay here. I can take 2 and I can leave. And now, he's gonna be once again down tempo. Remember what I said about like 1-0 and 2-0? Essentially, if he ever wants to make it 1-1, he shouldn't revenge chase. So what is revenge chasing? Trying to contest on objective that is gone. Trying to help laners that are getting ganked. Why is this bad? This is bad because you're not able to be at the right place at the right time. Because you don't have tempo. If you have no tempo, you can't punish people. Or I can match him. So this is the worst thing I can do. Okay, he killed my mid laner here probably. But should have killed my mid laner? Arguably, right? But if he here went towards the grubs, well, guess what? I would just take red buff, golems. I took 2 grubs, he takes 1. We're at least evenly matched, or I'm up tempo. Because he still takes 3 camps, and I took my camps. So that's the worst thing you can do as a jungler, okay? That's the worst thing. So this is like an example of what you should not do, okay? This is what you should not do. I will show you now an example of what you should do, and how to like 1v9, okay? So this is a game I played today. I'll go to my... So this is like an enchanter game, and I can promise you guys, if you master this, what I'm about to teach you guys, you will make fun of people in low elo. And that's what you want, right? So this is a jungler that's like... This guy is basically 1,350 LP, okay? He's challenger. This guy ended up being 3 levels down. So how did he end up being 3 levels down? While in the early game, he was actually ahead of me. Like, I actually trolled even early game, by the way. So, how did it happen? I will play from this point onwards, okay? And I'll show you how it happens. And I'll play from my POV. I'm even down camps, okay? So I'm not even ahead here. And I'll show you how I punished him. So, let's think from Kaz's perspective, okay? Kaz just ganked. Guess what? After he quote-unquote ganked, and just saying, I'm telling you what he could have gone instead, okay? He could have taken the crab, his blue and Gromp, okay? Instead, he went for a gank. Guess what? He's now what? He's now down tempo. So what does this mean for me? This means for me that, okay, he probably has to go to stop set camps. I'm still level 5, he's level 6. So I want to try to invade his bot set camps. Because I know he didn't take his blue buff yet, right? So he skipped his blue buff and he went towards raptors. Let's see right now. We found a little rise here. We kill him. Nice. So here in game, I still thought he took his top set camps and I could maybe take his raptors. So now I see him. I took his red. I bonked him and he died. How could I get here? That's only because he ganked mid lane. And by the way, he didn't even finish the red buff. And he had to skip his top camp for this. This is only because I understood that he is gank down tempo. Okay? So now, okay, what's next on the menu? If you understand tempo very, very well. Okay, I kill bot lane, okay? I died here, I think, because I tried to tank. Sure. Quick base timer. I am now, well, down tempo too. So, basically, right now, what's going through my mind? I'm now thinking, what the f can he do? If he wants to, he could invade my top set camps. I'm down tempo, okay? Instead of him going to my top set camps, he can mid lane and got a kill. But now, well, he made it very obvious he's going top side. So now you see how I'm pinging? I'm pinging assistance, assistance. I'm pinging my top laner to help me. Because I know that's very likely he wants my red buff. And we killed him. But now I want you to imagine this, okay? Imagine he didn't go mid lane here. He just went towards my top set camps here. And Ryze pushed his wave, okay? Like whatever. Let's say Rumble pushed his wave, moves into my top set camps here. If I am not aware that I'm down tempo, I would lose my red buff, raptors, and potentially my life. But because he's ganked, I know everything right now. And he died here. But he's still ahead of me. 6 CS, okay? So now guess what? I am low HP. So usually in general, I'm looking for a base here. But I'm chasing him here, okay? So guess what? I am now, well, okay, it depends if I'm going to base or not, okay? If I'm not going to base, I'm not down tempo. But if I decide to base, I'm for sure down tempo. But let's see what happens here. I have my support here. I have mid lane priority here. So despite having my item, because I have man advantage and Rakan's bot side, I'm completely fine invading here. Bonk. So what now? I have 1.4k gold. I just killed him again. So now my Leon ulted. I'm like, alright, see you boy. I'm out of here. And on top of killing him, I yoink his raptors. But okay guys, just saying, right now, the moment I'm doing this, I have one thing in my mind. What is it? One thing in my mind. Do I need to base? What I play for? We're enemy jungle. Essentially, it's like a defensive mindset. So, do I need to base? Yes. But you see here though, that both objectives are spawning. Groups are spawning, Drake is spawning. So, right now, I am completely fine giving the Drake or the groups. I am completely fine. I'm Omega turbo greeting here. Like, even though I need items, I'm just gonna greet here. But I'll need my laners to respect. The downside of this is that if my mid or bot is fighting, I'm not as strong. Okay? But here, I'm completely fine if I have to give a Drake here. This is my mindset. Now I'm thinking, okay, if I have to give Drake, it is what it is. I don't want to fight. If laners are spam picking me to gank, I have a defensive mindset. I don't want to do shit. I don't want to do anything. So you can see here, I'm just farming. My team is fighting. I'm just pinging signals to be careful. Careful guys, I'm not coming. I'm just farming here. And now I'll base. Taking golems is too much. Because if he takes Drake, at the very least, I want to be able to take this or this. So now I'm not really up tempo. I would say we're even. So let's see what happens. I want to go for the groups. Before going groups, I'm going mid lane. I kill mid lane here. I'm now a little bit down tempo, which means that if he wants to go top lane here, he could have been top lane here. But anyway, let's see. There's a fight here. I got a nice 2-man sleep. Kha'Zix is dead. And we get a kill here. Wonderful. Okay, as I killed Kha'Zix and as I'm doing this objective, what's going through my mind? Objective down tempo. If I decided to not do this objective, I would not be down tempo. Imagine there's no objective here, and let's say I had like 1k gold, and I decided to base here right now. I'm up 10 seconds tempo on him. Okay, it's not 10 seconds, guys. Let's say I decide to base right now. You get home guard at minute 14. So if I base right now, basically takes 8 seconds. So it would be like 12 seconds still, right? But because it's 4 seconds home guard advantage, I have like now 8 seconds up tempo. But because, that's if I base. But because I do this objective here, right? I am now officially objective down tempo. So the things I'm teaching you, okay, is things that you can track and measure. Every single time you take an objective, and if your laners die, you can then ask yourself, hold up, did I know that was down tempo? Did I know he could do that? And if you didn't, that is something to work on. So essentially, I'm teaching you guys like the triggers on when to recognize when you're down tempo. And right now, I'm thinking about one thing. I have 1.2k gold, okay? I now have a defensive mindset. Now I'm thinking, what can Kha'Zix do? But the thing is that I'm pretty OP, so I have my support moving as well. I have ball and push, and I'm down to fight again. Because I'm ahead. So here, I'm literally running to his boss camps here. And I'm yoinking his camps. I am down tempo. If I look for a base. Did I look for a base here? I didn't look for a base. So let's look at tempos, okay? Let's see where I am. I just finished the groups. He's here while I'm here. I'm not that down tempo. But I'll be down tempo if he rushes in a straight line to bot lane. But, because my misfortune is good wards, he cannot die. So now I take his camps here. And now we're going for a fight here, and I think he's dead. And I just take my bot side here. And of course, well, guess what? I'm now thinking, well, do I need to base? Yeah or nay? So honestly though, guys, I should base here. I should here spend my 1.8 gold. I should buy a Giant's Belt and a Blessing Wand. Because running all the way from like, let's say here to here takes at least 15 seconds. You should be basing here. Because then you can decide to where you open and play for either objective. But here, this game, I decided to be Omega greedy. I decided to go for the Drake. And after Drake, I knew that I'm down tempo. Because, well, okay, I'm only down tempo if I actually base. Keep that in mind. I'm not down tempo. I could be down tempo on top side. If you see. But I'm not down tempo. In like mid, you know. But here, I knew I'm down tempo top side. So instead of taking my bot side camps, what am I doing? I'm making sure that he cannot take my top side camps. If I take my bot side camps, maybe he would invade me here. And I don't want that. Because I know he's up-tempo, okay? On top side. But of course, I personally wanted to give this because I had a lot of gold. But my team wanted to fight here. So I was like, okay, I'll take the fight. It's fine. I'm not weak, you know? I'm still strong. And now we just killed the enemy team, I think. I did something crazy here. Kha'Zix is now up in 2 seconds, okay? And I have officially decided to take my bossy camps again. So, guess what, guys? I am surely down tempo. But I finally decided to base. Okay? I finally decided to base. I mean, now it's not really the tempo part anymore, but I will still keep explaining tempo because it's like a tempo class, right? Right now, his top camps are spawning. I am trying to identify which wave I could use to invade him. You see this flag? I'm pinging that wave so my misfortune can push the wave, force enemy to show, and then take his top camps. So let's see how I ping this, okay, and play this out. I'm pinging my Leona, assistance. I need my teammates with me. I hope I ping my Leona again. I didn't. But now there's a top set fight. And I'm pretty OP here, so I was down to fight this. Making sure there's no isolation. And now I kill Kha'Zix, I believe. Okay, boom. So now I killed him. So right now I ask myself this question again. Do I need to base? In mid games, a bit different is like which OP laner you play for, right? And track enemy, that's all. So right now, I'm just gonna take the camps here. Do I need to base? Well, I've took a gold. I do think I'll be basing. Let's hope I base here. Nice, I base here, perfect. So now, I based here. Enemy Kha'Zix just respawned. You see all these juicy camps here? If I have the choice between my camps or enemy camps, you always want to take the enemy camps. So see here again, I'm just pinging assistance on the way. I'm pinging my Leona in his face. And why is it good to take enemy camps? Think like this. Imagine I'm doing this, and my team is here. Think of this like a line. I'm here, and if they're like here, very dangerous. If I'm in the same line, I can help them. So, see what happens. I'm now officially in the same line. So any fight, I'm down to take. Any fight, I'm more than happy to take. So now, because I based properly there on top side, not only do I take his top side camps, I took his bottom camps as well. And how was I able to take his bottom camps? Because essentially, I based right now, he's still dead for 10 seconds. I'm up tempo for, let's just say 2 seconds, because he has a jump. I don't. So, yeah. And now, after he takes bottom camps here, he's officially 4 levels down. And you can see that this is a changer lobby, by the way. It's very important to understand that when you want to play aggressive and when you want to play defensive. And if you have the right mindset, it's like easy to play basically. And understanding when you want to play aggro and when you want to play defensive is very crucial. But I hope that does make sense. Essentially, you learned when to play aggressive, right? Like aggressive mindset, defensive mindset, right? And how to recognize tempo, which is that, well, after kill, down tempo, after objective, down tempo. You can look at after gank, sorry, same shit, kill, gank, and def timers, and home guards, of course, right? Those things. But essentially, if you're able to understand these things and apply in your games, it's gonna be a lot easier, basically. So basically, that is the practical part, okay? And now I'm gonna show you guys a bonus. Okay, this is funny because like I didn't have my classes, and they asked. This is like asking like which team is this from? Like which team is this? This is like Germany and Belgium. So I said 2 Germans on bot lane because I couldn't see it. But anyway, I'll show you guys some pro play concepts on how the best teams in the world play those situations out. Okay, let's go to mid game when they took Baron. But that's crazy though. What the fuck's wrong with my PC? Let's go to after T1 takes Baron, okay? This is the bonus because I'm going to show you guys like how the best teams in the world are doing this, okay? But this is actually really beautiful to watch. And I'll show you why. Because look what happens. They just took the Baron, okay? I want you to pay attention to how they base and how they open the map. So right now, they're going to play on this bot lane wave. That's coming. So Iris pushing bot lane here. And Yone's just buffing mid lane. So now, while Yone's buffing mid lane, they take the ball in wave here, right? And they take ball in tower. So after they take ball in tower, look what they do. They now base. Okay, guys. The thing that I'm going to show you guys is basically how T1's playing. And this is when they're winning reals, okay? So they kill ball in here. And look at how they play the map. It's really, really good, by the way. And what they're doing, I'll explain to you, okay? So right now, they just push ball in, which forces Aatrox to show here, okay? So few people based, few people to take Drake. And now, on this wave right there, they're instantly going to pressure. So see how Aatrox is catching ball lane, Yone's catching top lane. So now it's a 4v4, okay? So what's going to happen right now is that they now force the enemy team to show on mid lane, and they're going to use this wave to play for top lane tower. So how do they do that? They're now going to rotate in between jungle. They're going to have Yone buff mid lane. And now they're going to use this wave for top tower. These guys' job is to just not show themselves, but to make sure that Yone isn't in complete danger and go top lane. If they all go mid lane, they cannot kill Yone. And they're just going to keep pushing top lane. So now, after they buff mid lane and get the resources, they get a free top lane tower here. And now they're putting all the vision here in the top side. So now they're taking top lane tower. And now after they take this top lane tower, right, they're gonna base. So what's the good thing about basing here? Which is, basing on fresh waves allow you to do this, okay? Enemy has a worst base. You can contest next wave that spawns instantly. And why is this good? Because look what happens, okay? Now Tahm Kench is showing. He hasn't spent his gold yet. All of these guys are going to spend their gold. And you see the wave that's coming from base. Now you see the bot lane. They're now basing. And now on this wave, they can pressure mid lane into bot side instantly. So look how they play. They push mid lane. Now they're forced to show. And the moment they show, that's an indicator for them to go back in again. And now because they showed, they've now once again full bot side control. So they just took bot tower, put all the vision down, took top tower, put all the vision down, and they're not letting pressure go. Basically, the bot side, top side, and bot side again has been theirs for the whole time. And that's just simply good base timers, and that allows enemy team to not play the game. And you can do this in solo queue too, by the way. But you have to communicate it properly. But essentially, that's like how the best team in team plays like mid game a bit, right? But this is not like tempo, this is more like, actually it's kind of tempo, but it's different tempo, you know? There's like different tempo types. It's like, guys, League of Legends is a bit complicated, but I hope you guys understand better on what tempo is, how to recognize it, and that will help your games a lot. And yeah, to summarize it right, what is tempo, how to recognize tempo. Honestly, I think it's pretty clear, these things, how to use as well. Tempo cheating, I just wrote it down here, but I think that you guys would understand what tempo is, and especially defensive mindset and aggressive mindset, right? And yeah, and that's pretty much the class Roni. And if you want to add me on Discord for any questions, you can ask for coaching this, Patreon this, and the coaching class is free. You don't have to pay anything. I would appreciate it, but you don't have to, you know? That's pretty much it. I hope you guys did learn something, hopefully. But I can promise you, if you are able to apply these things, you will see good results. And you will basically, hopefully climb, hopefully.